Welcome back. It's BrainStorm with Brian Sturm. I am a gamer, game designer, and I was a game tester. I am playing through Bioshock Infinite as a gamer, and if I can, I will point out game industry things, game designer things, as much as I can. I'm not trying to educate too much, but just also trying to provide maybe my perspective. I always have to say that some of my reactions are as a gamer, not as a game designer or someone in the industry. And if anybody in the industry who are making these games doesn't like what I said, please keep in mind I love you all, and I understand budget and time constraints, and I respect your judgment calls. It's just my reaction sometimes as a gamer. Okay, so moving on. What I wanted to talk about was both here and here, if you can see what's going on there. And these are simple things. So these are art assets that were placed down, and you don't really get to pick and choose how big they are. And you do need to make a lot of content. This game has millions and millions of place pieces of content. And so you're going to have pieces of content that are going to be either placed incorrectly, or they're placed down and maybe somebody decided to move a wall months after the fact that something else got placed. And so you're going to have, this is called clipping. If it was completely flat, say this bush was completely in line with the wall, and they were flickering back and forth, that would be called Z-order fighting. But this is just called clipping at this case. And this is what it would be called a low priority. You have priority and severity of bugs. And so this is a low priority and a low severity bug. And especially in the early parts of a game development and the later parts of a game development, this is not very important. Even though this is maybe a little bit higher priority, just because this is one of the first opening moments of the game. You want to impress players with how amazing your game is. Also, this is a very well-traveled. There's a 50% chance that every single player who plays this game is going to go right there. There's a 50% chance that every player is going to go this way. Let's see if anything happens over here. Not much. So, hello. Flying straight up. Anyway. So that's clipping, and that's the reasoning why maybe it didn't get fixed, just so people are aware of it. And the reason why it is happening is that you can see that each of these is a single art asset, and it gets reused and churned and twisted and flattened, and so you don't get to pick and choose how big it is or whatever, but you do get to pick the position and the orientation of it. So, anyways. All right, enough of that. And that is some of the easiest game testing to do. It is almost worthless until they ask for actual art pass. In case some people hadn't, the players had not gone exploring, maybe this will be the first times where you'll notice money, and you notice that you can pick up things. So they're going to make these nice, easy ways for people to still learn about some of the basic parts of the game mechanics. If you think about it, you want to take a moment for people who want to do game design or game testing, write down all of the things that, as a player, I've had to learn right now. Left stick, right stick, pressing X, both interactions with the controller, and also maybe things I can do in this game, things that I can do in the world. So, in my other playthrough, I talked about that smoky vision. I'm going to not talk about the smoky New York vision. Now here they're deciding to use the audio to get you into the whole how these people are in the middle of their fanaticism for this culture. For people who are into art, once again, look at the themes that they're trying to get you soaked into compared to the other Bioshocks.
Don't mean it ain't got its fair share of fools. All right, still got a girl to find.
And once again, the audio for Booker, establishing what a kind of crass realist he is. Gotta write something down. Alright. And here we are again. We're still in the key section of the game. I gotta unlock the girl. I gotta go find the girl and unlock her. So, still such a great moment. Having things not quite going up and down, just fantastic. The choice of the bells. And I don't need to comment on it anymore for the rest of the game, but obviously there's things that are flavor. But if you really want to be picking apart this game, you're going to have to be listening to what they're talking about, whether they're acting really racist and you're not supposed to like this culture, or whether they're talking about how they're not sure about this or that, and it's obviously most of it's foreshadowing, but these guys are devices for foreshadowing or establishing main themes. The other thing that I did point out in my first playthrough is, depending on where you are when you trigger their audio, there's invisible lines, and trigger the audio. And maybe as game designers, they got to think the average gamers who are just going to walk by, and what's the most important thing you want to hear? Like me, when walking by these people, they're going to talk about the raffle, and you're going to hear the word raffle as you walk by.
Perfect day for the celebration.
See? Perfect day for the celebration. So you get this foreshadowing at the average speed. Now, that line, to trigger that, was like somewhere around here. If for whatever reason I had triggered it and then decided to walk over here back, I might have actually missed some of that dialogue. And you can't, as a game designer, you can't help that. And game designer / level designer, you can't help that. A lot of mistiness, a lot of, see this?
Fails to capture Father Comstock's absolute divinity. Like does not matter.
What other thing? Can I run at this point? Good. If you notice, you got him with the sword. So he's supposed to be this religious figure, and yet he's walking around with a saber. You have a little bit of the Muhammad kind of thing, where you can have a prophet who is also a military person. Now, that... I understand that you have a game in which it's very easy to fall off of the edge and jump. And so that's going to have to be a concession. It's a major thing to think about, a major concession. They say, well, this is a role-playing game for the masses of America, not for the hardcore gamers, and we need to make this game have a pace. And you can't stop the pace with a loading screen every time someone accidentally walks off an edge, especially later when the combat gets a little dicey and you're on top of boats that are flying through the air. So it breaks my heart, because that just takes me out of the fourth wall. I mean, for me, man, it's funny. I'm the type of gamer that just ruins it for me. So I try not to fall off the edge, because it really reminds me how much I'm playing a game, and I get really, it takes me out of the game. Stupid thing, right?
My dear fellow, they are a temperamental and unreliable lot to a man.
Uh-huh.
I told him that the park is exceedingly far behind schedule.
Now, I found this really funny. We missed the beginning sentence, but he said artists are a temperamental lot, and they're, and you know, considering that there's whatever 10,000 art assets that had to be made for this game, I find it very funny that they're complaining about art is behind schedule and how temperamental they are. I think it's a little bit of a wink to their own production schedule.
God, man, don't tell me about details. Just
Let me turn off the radio. Where's the radio? Bothers me.
You almost finished down there?
Yes, sir.
Interesting. I didn't notice that my first playthrough. So there's a little bit of a ledge, and it gets a little awkward there on the walking physics. I'm not going to play through all the voxophones, but these are fantastic. Obviously, to fill out the rest of the universe, to give you foreshadowing. And one other thing, once again, reusing art assets. If anybody notices, this is the options menu from the opening screen. So coming in here, and this is what's being used for the options menu. Reusing your art assets, because not only are you're fighting budget, or you're fighting CPU and RAM, you are fighting money. Every single thing is going to cost you money to do and to test. Hey. It doesn't only cost you money to make all of this stuff. It also costs you money to have somebody look at it and review it, and then to have somebody test it, and also for someone to place it. So, yeah, just things to think about if you're on the production side or budgetary side. Okay, moving along. Why are they doing smoke and clouds right there? Is it to give you the sense of the height?
It's Latin. It means
Latin.
Give you a little preview of motion. Also, doesn't make it a very static menu. If anyone recognizes this with the pig, they're reusing this for the starting menu. Where's the pig? Pig's menu. Ah, there he is. So here we are at the starting menu. And
Citizen, you're looking fit.
this is a lot of time, so why not reuse it on the main menu? And actually, I think later in the game, if I find kids who are doing that. All right, moving along. So here they give you, boom! Look at that. Those big sparks, catches your eye. Does it happen again? No. You saw how 2 sparks went off? So they wanted to grab your attention, have those sparks go off right in front of your face. You get to look at this and maybe get a preview of like, well, also you get to see that you're going to have these things that appear alive and yet they're like robots. Creepy, whatever robots. So they're giving you a little bit of foreshadowing about things you might be fighting or coming across. I did it again. So, once we were talking about triggers, so I had triggered that sequence where I'm supposed to come up. I'm like, hey, I can't get through here. And then I hear all this big commotion, and I see this beautiful moment with this thing with the propaganda, and you see the giant sign with the prophet and everything. You get to see this beautiful floating, and you also learn a little bit about game mechanics, where I'm until a certain event happens, I am locked from proceeding through the game because of these bridges. And I missed that whole entire thing because I triggered it, and then I'm standing around here talking to you guys instead of getting drawn in to viewing that. I've got a few more minutes. Now you've noticed throughout the game they've done head tracking, so up to a certain point. So someone had to make a call about when the head is going to stop looking at you and when the eyes are going to look at you. So anyway, so whenever someone is supposed to be looking at you, they made rules for see, didn't even bother to make her look left, but she will look this direction on your ass. Okay. For anybody who's been to Europe, you got these little promenades, so you definitely have a feeling that you're not
Raffle and Fair. Huh.
You're not in normal, modern day America for sure. Still think that's creepy. Little children with rifles. Very 1910.
Picking the right event to attend on a day like today is serious business, you know. Can't be everywhere.
top.
That's why we're going to the raffle.
More flavor. And I am out of time. I will start up the next walkthrough.